Manaslu is the 8th highest mountain in the world at 8,163 meters above sea level. It is located in the Mansiri Himal, part of the Nepalese Himalayas, in the west-central part of Nepal. Its name, which means mountain of the spirit, comes from the Sanskrit word manasa, meaning intellect, or soul. Manaslu was first climbed on May 9, 1956 by Toshio Imanishi and Gyalzen Norbu, members of a Japanese expedition. It is said that just as the British consider Everest their mountain, Manaslu has always been a Japanese mountain. Manaslu at 8,156 meters above mean sea level is the highest peak in the Lamjung District and is located about 40 miles east of Annapurna. The mountain's long ridges and valley glaciers offer feasible approaches from all directions, and culminate in a peak that towers steeply above its surrounding landscape, and is a dominant feature when viewed from afar. The Manaslu region offers a variety of trekking options. The popular Manaslu trekking route of 177 kilometers, skirts the Manaslu Massif over the pass down to Annapurna. The Nepalese government only permitted trekking of this circuit in 1991. The trekking trail follows an ancient salt trading route along the Budi Gandaki River. En route, 10 peaks over 6,500 meters are visible, including a few over 7,000 meters. The highest point reached along the trek route is the Glacier at an elevation of 5,106 meters. As of May 2008, the mountain has been climbed 297 times with 53 fatalities. Manaslu Conservation Area has been established with the primary objective of achieving conservation and sustainable management of the delimited area, which includes Manaslu. General, set in the northern Himalayan range in the Gorkha district of Nepal, Manaslu is a serrated wall of snow and ice hanging in the sky. The three sides of the mountain fall in steps to terraces down below, which are sparsely inhabited with agricultural operations practiced on the land. Apart from climbing Manaslu, trekking is popular in this mountain region, as part of the Manaslu Circuit, a notable path by trekkers in Nepal. The Manaslu Conservation Area, declared as such in December 1998 under the National Parks and Wildlife Conservation Act, subsumes Manaslu within it. The area covered under the conservation zone is 1,663 square kilometers and is managed by the National Trust for Nature Conservation of Nepal. The status of conservation area applied to the Manaslu area or region was with the basic objective to conserve and sustainable management of the natural resources and rich cultural heritage and to promote ecotourism to improve livelihood of the local people in the MCA region. Manaslu Himal, as it is popularly known among trekkers, provides views of the snow-covered mountains of the Himalayas and allows close interaction with the different ethnic groups who live in hill villages scattered along the trek route. The trekking route is through mountainous terrain prone to the consequences of monsoon rainfall, landslides and landfalls. Encounters with passing yaks, and hypothermia and altitude sickness, are common. Trekking to Manaslu is thus a test of endurance. Geography. The region, which is also termed the Manaslu Conservation Area, comprises subtropical Himalayan foothills to arid trans-Himalayan high pastures bordering Tibet. Starting from Aruhat and extending into the Lakla Pass, the area covers 6 climatic zones. The tropical and subtropical zone, elevation varies from 1,000 to 2,000 meters. The temperate zone. The subalpine zone elevation range of 3,000 to 4,000 meters. The alpine zone, a range of 4,000 to 5,000 meters, meadows. And the Arctic zone. The zones coalesce with the variation of the altitude from about 600 meters in the tropical zone to the 8,156 meters summit of Manaslu in the Arctic zone. Manaslu is known in the Tibetan language as Kutanel, in which tang means the Tibetan word for a flat place. It is a very large peak with an elevation of 8,156 meters. In view of its favorable topography of long ridges and glacial valleys, Manaslu offers several routes to mountaineers. Important peaks surrounding Manaslu include Ngadi Shulai, Himal Shulai and Border. A glacial saddle known as Glacier La, with an elevation of 5,106 meters, lies north of Manaslu. The peak is bounded on the east by the Ganesh Himal and the Buri Gandaki River Gorge, on the west by the deep fissures of the Marisiangdi Kola with its Annapurna range of hills. To the south is the Gorkha town at the foot of the hill, which is an aerial distance of 48 kilometers to the peak. There are 6 established trek routes to the peak, and on the mountain the south face is reportedly the most difficult for climbing. Climate: the permanent snow line is reckoned above 5,000 meters elevation. Precipitation in the area is both from snowfall and rainfall. The average annual rainfall is about 1,900 mm mostly during the monsoon period, which extends from June to September. The temperatures in the area also vary widely with the climatic zone. In the subtropical zone, the average summer and winter temperatures vary in the range of 31°-34 degrees Celsius and 8°-13 degrees Celsius respectively. In the temperate climatic zone, the summer temperatures are 22°-25 degrees Celsius and winter temperatures are 2°-6 degrees Celsius when snow and frost are also experienced. In the subalpine zone, during December to May snowfall generally occurs and the mean annual temperature is 6°-10 degrees Celsius. The Arctic zone is distinct and falls within the permanent snow line. There, the temperatures lie much below freezing zone. Major peaks. There are other major peaks in the region, namely Himalchulai, Ngadi Shulai, Shringi, Langpo and Sola. Fauna: unlike many other regions, this valley is a sanctuary to many highly endangered animals, including snow leopards and pandas. Other mammals include lynx, Himalayan black bear, grey wolf, dhole, Assam macaque, Himalayan musk deer, blue sheep, Himalayan tahr, mainland serow, Himalayan goral, woolly hare, horseshoe bat, Himalayan mouse hare and black-lipped pika. Over 110 species of birds, 33 mammals, 11 butterflies and 3 reptiles have been recorded. Conservation of wildlife in the area has been achieved by monks of the monasteries in the area by putting a hunting ban in place. This action has helped the wildlife to prosper. The area is now an important habitat for the snow leopard, grey wolf, musk deer, blue sheep and the Himalayan tahr. Vegetation: 3 main categories of vegetation have been identified in the area. These are categorized on the basis of the altitude as low hill, middle mountain and high mountain types with its exclusive types of dominant forests and other associated species. The types of vegetation, however, tend to overlap the adjoining ones at places. Depending on the microclimate and other aspects, an overlap of vegetation is noticed in adjacent areas. However, the forest types are fairly well defined. The flora in different forest types also does not show much variation. The valley basin has a rich ecotone diversity and includes 19 different types of forests, most prominently rhododendron, and also Himalayan blue pine, which is flanked by Ganesh Himal and the Sringi ranges. Medicinal herbs and aromatic plants have also been recorded in different forests types and adjoining vegetation. Overall, the presence of 19 types of forests and other forms of dominant vegetation have been recorded from the area. An estimated 1,500 to 2,000 plant species grow here. Birds: a total of 110 species of birds have been identified in the area, including golden eagle, Eurasian griffon, Himalayan griffon, blood, impian, cartilage and cockless pheasants, Himalayan and Tibetan snowcocks and the crimson horned pheasant. Ethnic groups: there are 2 ethnicities mainly inhabiting this region. Mubri and Thum. The branching off of the river at Chika divides these 2 ethnic domains. While Nubri had been frequently visited after Nepal opened itself for the tourism in 1950, some still retains much of its traditional culture, art, and tradition. In the central hills of the region, Gurungs are the main ethnic group who have joined the Gurkha army in large numbers. Closer to Tibet, the Bushas, akin to the Sherpa group, of Tibetan ethnicity dominate the scene as can be discerned from their flat-roofed houses, and they are distinctly Buddhists. The region is dotted with austere monasteries, mainly wells, chortens and other Buddhist religious landmarks. The traditional faith of non-violence and compassion augments the wildlife diversity of the region. History. In 1950, H.W. Tillman was the first European to lead an expedition to the Annapurna Range with a small party of 5 compatriots. They walked on foot from the Kathmandu Valley, and using Manang as their base camp they started exploring the mountain ranges, peaks and valleys of the Annapurna Massif. During this exploration, while making a reconnaissance of the higher reaches of the Dardkola, they clearly saw Manaslu from Bumtang. 3 months later, after their aborted trip to Annapurna 4, Tillman, accompanied by Major J.O.M. Roberts, trekked to Lakia La Pass and from there saw Manaslu and its plateau and concluded that there was a direct route to the summit, although they did not make an attempt on it. After the reconnaissance visit by Tillman, there were 4 Japanese expeditions between 1950 and 1955 that explored the possibility of climbing Manaslu by the north and east faces. In 1952, a Japanese reconnaissance party visited the area after the monsoon season. In the following year, a team of 15 climbers led by Waimita, after setting up base camp at Samagen, attempted to climb by the east side but failed to reach the summit. In this first attempt by a Japanese team to summit via the northeast face, 3 climbers reached a height of 7,750 meters, before turning back. In 1954, a Japanese team approaching from the Burigandaki route to the peak faced a hostile group of villagers at Samagen camp. The villagers thought that the previous expeditions had displeased the gods, causing the avalanches that destroyed the Pungjian monastery and the death of 18 people. As a result of this hostility, the team made a hasty retreat to Himal. To appease local sentiments, a large donation was made to rebuild the monastery. However, this philanthropic act did not ease the atmosphere of distrust and hostility towards Japanese expeditions. Even the expedition in 1956 which successfully climbed the mountain faced this situation, and as a result the next Japanese expedition only took place in 1971. Toshio Imanishi and Gyalzen Norbu made the first ascent of Manaslu on May 9, 1956. The team was led by Yakar Maki, also known as Aritsun Maki. In 1956, David Snellgrove, a noted scholar in Tibetan culture and religion, undertook a 7-month sojourn of mid-western central Nepal. The route that he followed, accompanied by 3 Nepalese people, was via Bumtang and Burigandaki River and crossing over to the Lakia La. 1970s. The next successful climb to the summit of Manaslu was in 1971. On May 17, 1971, Kazunaruko Hara and Motoki, part of an 11-man Japanese team, reached the summit via the northwest spur. Also in 1971, Kim Ho-sup led a Korean expedition attempt via the northeast face. Kim Ki-sup fell to his death on May 4. In 1972, the southwest face was climbed for the first time by an Austrian expedition led by Wolfgang Netz. In 1972 only, the Koreans attempted the northeast face. On April 10, an avalanche buried their camp at 6,500 meters, killing 15 climbers including 10 Sherpas and the Korean expedition leader Kim Ho-sup, and Kazunari Yasuhisa from Japan. In 1972, an Austrian expedition led by Wolfgang Netz made the first ascent via the SW face. On April 22, 1973, Gerhard Schmitz, Gerhard, Sergei Hupauer and a Sherpa climber reached the summit via the northeast face. In the same year, a Spanish expedition led by Juan Garcia Ortiz could reach only to 6,100 meters. The first Japanese women expedition led by Kyoko Sato was successful on May 4, 1974, when all members reached a summit after a failed attempt from the East Ridge. They were thus the first women team with Jambu Sherpa to climb an 8,000 meters peak. However, one climber died on May 5 when she fell between camps 4 and 5. 1980s. In the pre-monsoon period of 1980, a South Korean team led by Lee In-young reached a summit via the normal route, which was the 8th ascent to the peak. The year 1981 marked several expeditions, the largest contingent of 13 climbers of a team organized by the Sport Iselin of Zurich led by H.V. Carenel, made it to the summit along the normal route. In autumn, French mountaineers opened a new route, a variation of the West Face route. And a Japanese team, led by Waikato, made an ascent via the normal route. In 1983, two climbers from Yugoslavia, trying to climb the peak from the south face, were buried under an avalanche. One of them was Nejc Zoplitnik, a notable climber of Slovenian origin. A Korean team reached a summit in the autumn of the same year. A German team led by G. Harter was successful in climbing the peak via the south face, which followed the 1972 Tyrolean route. During the winter of 1983-84, a Polish team led by L. Korniszewski successfully followed the Tyrolean route. In the spring season of 1984, a Yugoslav team led by A. Kunava climbed the peak via the south face. During the same year, in autumn, Polish teams climbed the south ridge and southeast face. On January 12, 1984, Maciej Berbeka and Ryszard Gajewski of a Polish expedition made the first winter ascent via the normal route. On November 10, 1986, Jerzy Kukuczka and Artur Hortzer reached the summit via a new route, in alpine style, with no supplementary oxygen. Before that, both Kukuczka and Hortzer, and Carlos Carsolio made the first climb of the east summit of Manilu. In 1986, a joint team from Poland and Mexico led by Kukuczka opened a new route along the east ridge, descending via the northeast face. 1990s On May 2, 1993, Sepp Brunner, Gerard Fluhmann, Sepp Hinding and Dr. Michael Luprecht reached a summit via the normal route and descended on skis from 7,000 meters to the base camp. The Austrian expedition was led by Arthur Hayde. On December 8, 1995, Anatol Ibaukreev summited Manilu with the second Kazakhstan Himalaya expedition. On May 12, 1996, Carlos Carsolio and his younger brother Alfredo reached the summit of Manilu. For Carsolio it was his 14th and final 8,000er, becoming the fourth person in history and the youngest to achieve the feat. In 1997, Charlie Mace made the first American ascent. 2000s During the spring of 2000, there were 4 expeditions to Manilu. One climb was on the east face by the Japan 2000 expedition led by Yoshio Maruyama. The other 3 were on the northeast ridge, the 2000 Ethiopian Bayers expedition of Spain led by Felix Maria Iriarte. The 2000 Korean Manilu expedition of Korea led by Han Wang-yong. And the Manilu 2000 expedition from Italy led by Franco Brunello. On May 22, 2001, a 3-member team of Ukraine Himalaya 2001 expedition comprising Sergei Korvalov, Vadim Lentiev and Vladislav Terzyl successfully summited Manilu via the challenging southeast face. All climbed without oxygen support. During the autumn of 2001, 3 members and a Sherpa of the Japan Workers' Alpine Federation climbed the peak via the northeast face on October 9, 2001. On May 13, 2002, 5 Americans, Tom Fitzsimmons, Jerome Delvin, Michael McGuffin, Dan Percival and Brian Salto and 2 Sherpas reached a summit. Piotr Pustelnik and Krzysztof Tarasiewicz climbed Manilu on May 17, 2003. However, Dariusz Zalewski, Anna Zerwinska and Barbara Drausek, who started the climb after Piotr and Krzysztof, had to turn back due to strong winds and bad weather. With this ascent, Pustelnik has summited 12 of the world's 14 highest peaks. On May 29, 2006, Australian mountaineer Sue Fear died after falling into a crevasse on her descent after summiting. In 2008, Valerie Parkinson was the first British woman to climb Manilu. 2010s In 2011, Arjun Vajpayee, a young Indian mountaineer, summited Manilu on 5 October 2011 and became the youngest climber in the world to have summited Manilu at the age of 18. 11 climbers were killed in an avalanche on September 23, 2012. September 25, 2014, Polish ski mountaineer Andrzej Bargiel set a record time from base camp to summit at 14 hours 5 minutes and also record time for base peak base of 21 hours 14 minutes. Risk Traditionally, the spring, or pre-monsoon season, is the least hazardous for bad weather, snowfall and avalanches. Manilu is one of the more risky 8,000ers to climb. As of May 2008, there have been 297 ascents of Manaslu and 53 deaths on the mountain, making it the fourth most dangerous 8,000 m peak, behind Annapurna, Nanga Parbat, and K2. Trekking in the Manaslu region. The Manaslu region offers a variety of trekking options. The Manaslu circuit trek now usually starts in Aruhot Bazaar and ends 2 to 3 weeks later in Bissasaha, the starting point of the Annapurna circuit trek. Until recently the trek required camping, but building of tea houses means the trek can be completed using local accommodation. The trek requires a restricted area permit of $50 per week and that trekkers travel in a group of 2 with a registered guide. The trek lies on the newly developed Great Himalaya Trail. The trek follows an ancient Salta-Euro trading route along the steep-sided Budi Gandaki River. From Deng, the slopes of ravines ease and views of snow peaks start appearing from Ligane. Further from Ligane, an impressive view of Manaslu, with its double peak, appears described as a soaring monarch with a double-edged summit towering above fields of barley. The route follows the pine-forested Siala village, which has the backdrop of many horseshoe-shaped peaks, and reaches the village of Samagen at the foot of Manaslu. There is a Buddhist monastery at Samagen, where monks and nuns reside. After half a day Euro unregistered trademark S-trek from Samagen, the village of Samdo is reached. Samdo is the highest village in the Budi Gandaki Valley and is inhabited by Boschers. This village commands a view of the valley and Pangfuchi village with a backdrop of the Tibetan border. Further trekking leads along a major secondary valley to the Laka La. Along this route, Shio Himal, Lamjung Himal and Kangaroo are seen, along with occasional views of the Annapurna Massif. From here, the meadowland of Bimtang at elevation 1,500 meters is reached, from where Manaslu is clearly visible. From Manaslu, the circuit passes through Dudkola, crisscrosses Marsiangdi River before reaching Bulbul, Tarokla crosses the Chipkola and Durandi Kola before returning to Gorkha. 2 alternative routes are also popular. One is on the Annapurna Trail but leaves it at Darapani to reach Manang, crossing Thorongla and Jomsom. From Jomsom flights depart to Pokhara. The other alternative route is from Bulbul, crossing Marsiangdi to Kudai, divert from Annapurna Trail and trek cross-country through valleys and ridges to Sijua town on the bank of Begna's Tal. From here a road approach is available to Pokhara. When trekking through the Manaslu region, 10 peaks of over 6,500 meters in height are visible, including peaks of over 7,000 meters elevation. People at Some Valley and the Ganesh Himal base camp as acclimatization trips before going on expeditions through the high passes. The Tsum region, which was restricted for tourists for a long time, is now the center of attraction for intrepid trekkers, with the government of Nepal recently opening it for group tourists. In order to retain its pristine culture and sustain its fragile ecosystem, the Tsum Welfare Committee is involved in the promotion of responsible tourism in Tsum. However, local participation for sustainable tourism is still a challenging task with a long road ahead. Area Development Project, under loan funds provided by the Asian Development Bank, the government of Nepal has an infrastructure project titled Manaslu Ecotourism Development Project under implementation. The objective is to improve the capacity of the Manaslu area to support tourism in an environmentally benign manner. See also, List of mountains in Nepal. References, Mayhew, Bradley. Bindloss, Joe. Trekking in the Nepal Himalaya. Lonely Planet. ISBN 1-74104-188-0. Retrieved April 15, 2010. Messner, Reinhold. All 14 8000ers. The Mountaineers Books. ISBN 0-89886-660X. Retrieved April 14, 2010. Reynolds, Kev. Manaslu, A Trekker's Guide. Introduction. ISBN 1-85284-300-20. Retrieved January 23, 2013. Footnotes equals. Further reading, The Ascent of Manaslu. Markey, Yuko and Imanishi, T. Himalayan Journal. Access December 28, 2011. Maki, Aritsune. The Ascent of Manailu. Mainichi, Tokyo. Maki, Aritsune, ed Manailu, for boys and girls. Mainichi, Tokyo. Yoda, Takoroshi. The Ascent of Manailu in Photographs. Mainichi Newspapers, Tokyo. External links, Manailu Travel Guide from Wiki Voyage, Manailu on Himalaya-info.org, Manailu on Summit Post, Manailu on Peakware.